Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to The Truth, where today we're going to be talking about the Denver Broncos. Getting right into it, Sean Payton, under his first season, went, I think it's his first season, went 8-9. Last year, they went 5-12. So things did change because, Russ did improve. The organization shifted up, so they got a lot better. But they still need improvement. Losing record isn't it. Um, you know, so there are improvements. So they are making some strides, but they do have to move around with the cap. Being about $26 million over the cap, plus you still have to sign. Right now, it looks like you have to sign a couple free agents, and you still have to be able to pay your rookies. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they maneuver that, what they're gonna do with the Russ, how they're gonna maneuver that contract, and others. I'm really intrigued. Getting into some key players this offseason. Just waiting. Denver 2024 update. There's some interesting things. Two players of mine. Adam Troutman. That one's. I feel like they can. I know there's no offense to Adam Troutman, but I feel like they'd be okay with losing him. Jesse Jewell, I think that's how you say his name. That one sucks. That one would be nice. A nice bring back. Is a more veteran experienced guy. Wouldn't cost you as much, and would also help out with some needs. Other than that, you're kind of chilling a little bit. You do have some other positions that are going to be interesting to see what happens. But with your cap, it depends on it depends on what take they want to do. If the Broncos want to maybe not necessarily go all in, maybe be 1 or 2 games better, they can realistically get under the cap, sign 3 free agents, and have a 9-8 record, improve, and then set themselves up later for more success. Or if they want to win now, they can start going all in. They have options. But it will be interesting to see what Sean Payton wants to do. Getting into the mock draft and getting what I said, the Broncos do not have enough picks. They will have to sign players. They do not have enough picks to cover their needs, positional needs that they lost coming into this season, this offseason. They basically I addressed every starter, but could not address the depth. With the first pick, I got Terry Arnold to help out in the cornerback room because they do lose a starter so far right now. As a freshman, even early in 2023, Terry Arnold was pretty good. He's a young guy, 6'1", 180, so you'd like to see him put on a little bit more weight. Great coverage. He's a really good coverage other than the Texas game. Pretty good, pretty athletic. He likes to play press coverage. It's more of his style. He likes to jam guys up at the line. He's patient and never kind of overcommits and kind of lunges and stuff. And he's pretty good. He has pretty good eye discipline, so that's always nice to see. He's really good in man coverage, but he's also pretty good in zone too. Pretty smart in his coverages. Kind of likes to play. What's the word I'm looking for? He plays well in the scheme, and he's detailed in his technique. I'm trying to think. I can't remember the word I'm looking for, but he can play. He can be a first round corner. That's honest. He's going to be a good player, and I'm eager to see how he's going to play. I just think he needs to put on some more weight. With the next pick, Peyton Willis kind of talked about this guy, linebacker of NC State, that fills in that interior linebacker position that they need. With the next pick, I took Jaheim Bell, tight end out of Florida State, 6'3", 230, kind of that more receiving tight end who's going to replace Adam Troutman in that position. That's what I'm saying. I feel like you can get a tight end in this draft to kind of replace that position. I have to go actually pay for it, unless you want to. Unless that's their guy, and that's their guy. But with the fourth pick, I chose Keaton I'm gonna butcher that name, so I'm never gonna try to allow it. Safety of Oregon. I actually really like this pick. The only big nick on why he's fallen is one, the safety position's kind of devalued in this draft. He's 6'2", 214, good in coverage, but not in the slot. He is not your typical slot drop-in guy, slot man coverage guy. He will struggle. But giving a multi-safety look, kind of moving him around like he did in college, he was great at. He was really good. Good tackler, is stiff, but good tackler, can blitz and can play coverage and can play zone coverage. This is a really good safety that could develop into a lot better safety. It kind of fell into the laps of the Denver Broncos, and I think it's a great pick. So it really works out for them. And then with the next pick, I took Marshawn Nealand, 6'3", 275 to address the edge position. Would like a little bit taller of a guy, a little bit more height, but you'll take what you take with this late in the draft. And then with the last pick, I chose offensive center Charles Turner of LSU to fill up the center spot. So I was able to address, like I said before, every starter, but I was not able to address the depth, which would be one tackle, one guard, and one interior linebacker. There haven't relatively Denver has been keeping it pretty quiet. Nothing out, nothing kind of leaking, nothing moving around. They kind of made some noise with how they played Russ throughout the season, but now they stayed really quiet. They're keeping their cards to themselves and they're playing smart. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they want to play and build this team on this roster. Because like I said before, they can go all in and kick the can down the road, or they can realistically play it smart, resign only a couple guys, and then go out here and probably win one or two more games and have a winning season and continue to gain progress and then really start making leaps and bounds. But I feel like all of it starts with the Russ contract. It's really going to depend on where they view Russ in this team. If they think, hey, Russ can kind of continue to play out his contract, they think he still has some development to do and he can still get better in Peyton's offense, then yeah, okay, I can see them bring back Russ. But if they don't think Russ can get better under that Peyton offense, then they're just not going to commit to it. It really depends on that. That's really how I honestly feel like how their offseason will go is what they feel like they want to do with Russell Wilson. And if, it depends on, and then if you trade him, how much compensation are you getting? And if you aren't able to trade him, and if you for some reason do cut him, how's that going to affect your draft capital? How's that going to affect your cap? Maybe not this year, but the next couple of years. There's a lot that goes into it. So it's going to be really interesting to see. But I am fairly happy with how this draft turned out. I think there are a couple pieces, Taron Arnold and Kitten out of, I hope I'm saying his name right, out of Oregon State. I feel like those are really good pieces to help out the secondary, and they're cheap too. That's the one thing. You're getting cheap quality talent. Peyton Willis, smart linebacker out of NC State, so he can fill that interior linebacker role. I do think it is a smart move with the situation right now to go sign. I think Jewell is his last name, interior linebacker for the Broncos, to fill that position back up so that way it's less of a need because you do have to double up on the position at the moment. So that is something interesting. Center too is something to look at. Guys who snap, that's pretty impactful. Maybe you do like a guy like Charles Turner or a guy higher up in the draft, or try to resign your center. It depends because you want cohesion in the offensive line. The more the offensive line plays together, the better they are. So that's something. Edge is going to be something interesting because of how they've kind of played their young guys and kind of developed them and how they like them. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they do at edge too. The Broncos have a lot of questions, but it's not necessarily in a bad way. It's just in a, that's kind of intriguing. I want to see what they're going to do way. The Broncos are kind of a team who I'm going to be patient with and then kind of judge, not really sign a guy and kind of give my reaction to it. It's going to be like more of like sign a guy. Okay, what are you going to do next? What's the overall plan? And maybe not go, yeah, you could do this and this makes sense, but you probably should have went this way. No, I want to look at the overall plan and see how it turns out. Like that's the type of team I'm looking at the Broncos, other than looking at it as like, okay, you kind of pay a guy, how does that affect your cap? How much do you want to do? What do you want to really move around? Was that the smarter choice? Because if you do need to re-sign or sign other players and you don't have the capital to, you kind of screw yourself over. Yeah, if the Broncos kind of restructure and then make one big signing, or and then like two small signings, or maybe get some veteran minimums to help with that depth, I'd be pretty interested to see how they attack the draft then. Because they're just, like I said before, they're one of those teams who are like, they can go in multiple directions. They're flexible, even though they are $26 million over the cap. So, like I said before, it's going to be really interesting. It's going to be the team you just sit, watch, and watch throughout the entire offseason to see what happens. Other than that, I know it's kind of short of video. Sorry, it's not a lot to really go off of. Kind of wait until it heats up a little bit. But thank you all for watching, and I will talk to y'all next time.